to Sound the Sirens. I'm your host, Thomas Ornis, and today I'm joined with my father, as usual, Craig Ornis. And we're going to go over the UNLV game and the trip to Vegas, and we're going to go into the Baylor game a little bit.
Talk a little bit more about Vegas, because I really haven't talked to you a ton about it. So
yeah, it was quite the scene. It was like a bowl game that we didn't get to have for the Fiesta Bowl. It was just absolutely nuts. It was like Kansas City mixed in with, obviously it was a bigger population, but
sure,
it was absolutely nuts.
Iowa State fans as a whole spent a ton of money.
Yeah,
out there.
Yeah, it was. I saw Niang. I saw George Niang there. It was surreal. And they closed down the bridge to everyone
from Mandalay Bay. Is that,
yeah, to walk to the stadium, and we went under an underpass, then over a bridge. But we were on the underpass, and everyone was just saying "Let's go State." It was just
wow,
it was echoing, and it was just I got goosebumps literally the whole way. It was
wow, that's cool.
It was awesome. And
yeah, I wish I could have gone. I knew that I couldn't go just because of my real job, but it looked like I had a lot of friends out there that I had talked about it. I knew it was going to be a lot of fun, but man, I just couldn't believe on social media seeing how many people were there by Thursday.
Yeah,
I mean, there's people that
really spent a lot of money there.
Yeah. So you're going to talk about your trip home eventually?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everything was great, but on the way home, the guy was puking the whole way back from Vegas to Minneapolis. But
that's got to happen a lot on that return trip from Vegas to Minneapolis. Somebody that decides, I'm going to get my last bender in before I leave. And
yeah, Louie and I, because me and Louie we're obviously in their lower 20s, so we can't really afford these drinks like your guys' age. It was $15 to $17 a drink, and you can get free drinks if you gamble, but
right.
I'm smart because I went to Vegas for the first time at Michael's bachelor's party, and you learn that these free drinks worth hundreds of dollars when you're losing money.
Right.
Gambling,
Yeah.
so.
They come out ahead if you're free booze. I mean,
me and Louie didn't have very luck on the wheel. I was up $150 and I cashed out, and then because I was listening to Grandpa's whenever you get up, just cash out and then bet with the money that you win. And I did that, and then I lost 100, and I was I'll just use the 50 to spend on the ungodly amount of the spending of the stadium. It was $8 for water, and it was just
you had to know that was going to happen though. I mean, Vegas is expensive in general. I am not. I mean, I know people disagree with me, but I am not a Vegas fan. I never have been. I'm not a big gambler in general. I mean, I like sports betting a little bit, but I've never been a Vegas fan. I've been out there several times. But my brother-in-law, your uncle, lives out there, and you get to stay with him, so you save a little money that way. And you kind of said that you saw a different side of Vegas, getting away from the Strip and the residential area.
It was insane. It's kind of like what Scottsdale, Arizona was back in probably 20 years ago. It was just people building houses it left and right. It's just it's like Vegas where I didn't know it existed.
Sure.
It's just residential area.
Well, think about when somebody goes to Vegas, they probably don't leave that 20 square blocks of the Strip, and they never see any other part of it because that's where everything is. But after that, it's probably just your normal your normal arid state city like any of the other towns in Arizona. But there's so much money that pours into that town.
Yeah, it's super nice, and it's gonna boom because the Raiders there. It used to have 0 sports teams, now has Raiders and the hockey team, and that stadium. So literally, we walked in. I'm like, Louis, this smells like a brand new car.
Yeah,
because everything is brand new, and
before it smells like a lot of other stuff that'll happen.
Yeah,
I mean, it's there's somebody compared Vegas, said that it smells like car exhaust and urine or something is what they said. It just is
it was a special trip. I was I
was jealous. I wish I would have been there, but
there's probably way more people your age there than my age.
Oh, sure.
And I really didn't. I knew Austin and those guys, ran into those guys, but it was more probably your generation trip. But
well, I mean, my generation has been in the workforce a little longer, and there's probably a lot of people out there that kids are older like you, and few farmers probably went. They're just getting ready. They came back to harvest after that. I mean, that's probably the situation. But, yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. It was, man, I tell you, it really put Iowa State in such a good light. I mean, when you see that all of that cardinal gold on the screen, and it's at Vegas. I mean, obviously Vegas sucks. I mean, let's be real. I mean, they're a bad football team.
UNLV was
I mean, they're
probably the worst team I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure who played worst team this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know if Baylor's played worse teams on their entire schedule or UNLV was worse. I mean,
but yeah, like saying the worst team I've ever seen, but there's been pretty bad.
Well, they had some talent, but they were overmatched. I mean, and has anybody ever thought, oh, college football, UNLV? No, it doesn't even come into the same conversation.
Just going into that game, I was just thinking of the last time we played UNLV, just like the difference between our program from then to now. It was like Gene Chiswick's first or second year, we were god awful. Yeah. We lost in overtime to them, but it was UNLV, man. They were pretty bad. We made them look pretty bad. And to think that they have a quarterback who's the highest recruit.
Yeah, that is
the highest recruit in Ohio State's history, and Tate Martell, which is kind of just a really sad story. Yeah, I got over here. Yeah. It's a really sad story. It just really was bummed me out because, like, because he was, like, a part of, like, the QB1 with the Riel Mitchell season thing. He was on that season.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing him from that to what I saw on Saturday, it was just.
So what does that say about Las Vegas high school football?
And
is it also, not good?
And also the night before, when we got to Vegas in Mike's house, turned on the game, the same high school where Tate Martell came from was up 24-7 with a minute or 65 seconds left, and they lost.
Oh my, 20. Wow.
Yeah.
That almost, you almost have to try to do that.
2 onside kicks, and it was like the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was the biggest meltdown I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just crazy how that was the same high school as Tate Martell.
So did Vegas is one of the places that weed is, legal. It's pretty prevalent out there. Did you see, like, just the random person smoking a joint walking on the street? Or I
don't think it's legal on the Strip. I think
it is. There's a place called MedMen I walked by last time I was out there. They're selling it there. But there's, like, I don't know if you can actually
portions of, like, it's not like open container. I don't think you can just be smoking.
You can't just be smoking and walking on the street.
So
you didn't, obviously, then the answer to my question, you didn't see people just lighting up.
We did, but like the homeless people, obviously, is free range there. They can do.
Right.
They're just hanging out.
Yeah.
But nothing really too bad.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm not. You have to be. I think to like Vegas, you have to be a gambler. I mean, because it's hard. It's hard to. Most people that I know that like going to Vegas like to gamble. I mean, some people say, "Yeah, I like to go for the show as well."
But they're bringing more to Vegas now with the Raiders coming in.
Right.
Vegas, whatever their hockey team's called, I can't remember. But yeah, and it was nice to see. We have a linebacker named Vaughn who just dominated UNLV, which was poetic justice.
Because of Rashad Vaughn? Oh, my God. That's a throwback.
Because Rashad Vaughn went to UNLV and not Iowa State back in 2014 for people that
was a dark day in your fandom.
For people who are biggest dorks like me that know that.
Yeah, well, I knew that too, unfortunately. So
yeah. It was just a dominant football game.
Vaughn is a really good football player.
And sounds like Vance will be back, and Vaughn will be going back to be on backup, and he looks.
There's a pretty good argument that Vaughn's better than Vance.
We'll see. Like Vance is really good too. Like I was going back and watching the highlights from the infamous tent game for this Baylor game.
Yeah, that's so.
It's just so crazy how we have like all of our players are still here.
Yeah.
From that game, and that was a slop. That was a sloppy game. Was like 120 degrees on our sideline or something like that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I are in agreement that Baylor, after all of the crap that happened there, should have got the death penalty similar to SMU did, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And so it still ticks me off a little bit that they can even compete because of what they let go on down there. But it's not the kids' fault that are there now or the coach. However, SMU can make the same argument that when they got the death penalty, and I think that was just paying players. It wasn't doing what they were doing. So,
but
I don't have a whole lot of time for Baylor football.
But like the argument is like even like the Penn State thing. They really like the NCAA is not like the law.
Yeah.
Which like is weird because like you can like SMU got in trouble for giving players cars, but they got the nastiest of nasty crimes going on, and
Well, SMU was, a predominant program when that happened, and they gave them the death penalty. And when was the last time you thought of SMU football? Not very often.
No.
I mean, that could have happened pretty easily. But Baylor is still, I watched part of the game with them in Kansas, and they've got athletes. And well, before we get into that, and let's talk about the UNLV game itself. I mean, like I said, UNLV sucks, so it's hard to judge, how good we actually played. But I tell you what, there's some guys that really stood out there, like Miles Purchase. Really looked good. He laid the wood on some guy on a kick return.
The King guy, Monty King.
Could have got a targeting, but I agreed with the call, to be honest with you. I mean, I think I've said I've been a high school football coach I was a high school football official for 10 years, and the sparing rule has been around forever. They never call it, but he did not. When he lowered his head, he kind of hit him on the side of his helmet, so I didn't think it was targeting. And the other kid, when the NLV kid targeted his guy, he didn't hit him in the head. He hit him like in the chest. So that should be spearing, which is not an ejectable offense, but I don't know. So anyway, I mean, I think, Purdy obviously looked great except for his one fumble. Brees got to 100 yards. Kohler looked much healthier. I think the offensive line is, got a new scheme they're doing. They're not doing the zone blocking as much. They're doing more pulling and full blocking than they've done in the past. So, I mean, they are still trying to figure that out, which I think probably was our problem against Iowa. I mean, thinking about that now, I'd like to go back and watch that game a little more. But, I really think in football, you really don't know till October 1st who's good and who's not because I mean, the teams that Baylor has played are horrendous. Yeah. I mean, they're all bad. I mean, Kansas, I'm not sure could compete in 5A in Iowa. I mean, they're just not good.
Well, it's just like goes to show how important the Iowa State-Iowa game is. Like,
right.
If we and UNI, if UNI wasn't as good of a SCS school as they were, it would just be exactly like Baylor. We would just be playing cupcake teams, and playing UNLV, who is, we've been saying they're really bad. Yeah. And
well, I mean, I'm hoping it's every team needs a game like that to get right, and hopefully we got right. I mean, we saw that Ryan Harklaw has talked about the guys we have in the cupboard, and man, is he right. The Silas kid, our third running back.
Yeah,
he looks like a bowling ball out there.
He's gonna be a fan favorite for sure.
And Eli Sanders looks good. Jalen Noel were actually returned a punt. We didn't fair catch it. I mean, that's almost as like a unicorn type moment, like us making a 50-yard field goal.
54-yard field goal.
50-yard field goal. When was the last time that happened?
10 years ago.
Oh my God.
10 years ago, and
they go back and over the last 10 years, how many games would have been different if we would have had a kicker that could do that consistently?
Yeah, just saying. Went back and watched the highlights of the Tent game, and Asali missed two 49-yard field goals.
Right.
And if you go back to the Big 12 championship game, he missed a kick short 40 yards. And, last year, you could argue that Iowa State could have made the playoff if we just had a kicker who can make a field goal and a kicker who can kick it out of the end zone, which one of the only things that I can complain about for this game that's really was kind of really weird to me was we finally have a kicker who can kick it out of the end zone, and then we just put in the Nettles guy to do that pooch kick it out of bounds. I'm just like,
that's a very Iowa State thing to do.
Like, well, okay, what are we doing? I guess we're just trying to get that. I'm not sure how reliable that is as a kick, but
well, I mean, maybe if you're going to practice that live, it's a great time to do it against UNLV because if it goes bad, it's not like it's a play against Kansas State where it's a one-score game. I mean, that's the good part about games like this is that you can kind of experiment with different things and you're really not risking anything because our defense is so flipping good. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna. I think Baylor's obviously going to be an upgrade in talent this weekend. I don't think they can score on us. I mean, they've got more speed, but the thing that has changed, in my opinion, is we have so much more speed than we're used to that we can make mistakes and make up for it because we have speed. Mm-hmm. We used to have mistakes and we couldn't catch anybody. Nowadays, our D-backs, our linebackers are so fast, and I think Ennis having had a phenomenal game this weekend too. So I could probably, if there was a line on this in Vegas, I would bet that any team that we can keep at 10 points or less, we win almost regardless what the offense does.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to be so hard for us to score, for other teams to score against us.
The thing about Baylor is they're just they basically copied our defense.
Yeah.
After
everybody's copying it.
After the Haycock revolution, after the Baker Mayfield game, Clemson came into Iowa State and looked at our defense, and
Alabama did.
Baylor's been doing that, and it's just really exciting because even when Tate Martell was doing the read option stuff, our linebackers are so fast to go sideline to sideline, so it didn't really matter if they messed up and Tate Martell is fast.
Sure.
And having really fast linebackers and Will McDonald, who the only way is stopped by is just being completely pancaked. That 71 lineman, he had a rough day because he had 3 or 4 holds on Will McDonald. And that's only way you stop him because he's been like that the whole time he's been at Iowa State. And man, I cherish every moment I see him rushing the passer because man, is he good. And Damani King,
Kamari King.
I
believe that's how you pronounce it.
He played really well.
Yeah.
In the UNLV.
He can hit, boy.
I hope I hope he's the answer to the opposite end of Anthony Johnson. I hope we finally found a guy like Monty King or Miles Purchase even, which will be interesting to see because Miles Purchase is probably one of our best cornerbacks, but he's a freshman and he's also a tweener guy. We should play him.
A tweener, you mean?
Yeah, tweener guy. Where we should play him, but we kind of want to hold the red shirt.
Right.
But man, if he shows out, he could be the starting cornerback pretty easily. But yeah, because he'll we went from Brian Peavy to Anthony Johnson because Anthony Johnson's a freshman. He was the alpha side of Brian Peavy, and it could be that similar situation there.
Yeah, our D-backs are so good. And I think we've got, remember when Eisworth has been hurt in the past, how we kind of struggled at times, but Datrone Young did not play. Campbell said he didn't even make the trip.
Yeah.
Which I feel, if that's true, he didn't even get to go. I feel bad for the kid because it was kind of an experience, but we've got more depth now than we've ever had in my lifetime. It's Kamani King. I'm sorry. Kamani King, yeah.
Bad.
So he, we're trying to learn these guys that are new guys. These are guys that we're going to be saying their name for a long time. So
it's hard to keep, times are good when it's kind of hard to keep track of how many good secondary players we got because Amos didn't play either, which he's a huge piece that we thought was coming this season.
I hope I'm never wrong with this, but I don't think our defense is going to be an issue all year. Because of that whole depth thing. It's going to be our offense. Can we put up 24 points a game? If we can put up 24 points a game the rest of the way out, we win out.
It really
I really do. I really honestly think our defense is that good that if we can score 24 points a game, however, 8 field goals, I don't care how the hell it is, we win every game.
Which is, it's not like we have.
And don't turn it over.
Yeah, it's not like we have pieces on offense. It takes us a while to get things together.
Sean Shaw played again.
Yeah,
that's a huge thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, Sean Shaw, I was going to bring that up. Sean Shaw and I think Sean Shaw or Skates is just going to have a breakout game next game because Skates showed promise his whole career, and I think he's finally getting it together, and him and Sean Shaw, if they play Xavier Hutchinson.
Yeah, our best receiver, we're not even talking about it.
Yeah, Xavier Hutchinson came out and made the cornerbacks look silly, and it was just exactly how I pictured the game was. Yeah. It was exactly how it went down, and
everybody got home in one piece, and
it's just it's gonna. I think this Baylor game, I don't know. I can't really because going back looking at the game of the highlights of the 10 games, just and looking at last year, if we can just put a full game together, because we haven't really done that on offense in a long time.
I think it's fool's gold to think we're going to put a full game together against Baylor, because one of two things is going to happen Saturday. We're going to continue the progress on offense and play well, or we're going to revert and struggle again like we did against UNI and Iowa. I'm hoping that seeing what we can do again means we're going to, we can put up 30 points against Baylor. However, there's a part of me that would not be surprised a bit that is all of a sudden we've got some more speed. They've got like a 6'7", 350-pound nose guard or wherever the hell he is. He's a huge dude. That if all of a sudden we start struggling again, now we're going to have to rely on our defense to keep us in the game. I hope that doesn't happen. But
and like the only thing you can complain about our defense is like we have had forced turnovers. We haven't really forced many fumbles.
No, yeah.
But
that's the only thing. It's the only criticism of the defense.
It's literally the only thing,
Yeah.
which we're really nitpicking when it comes to that. But
yeah, no, our defense. I mean, if we don't turn it over, or if it's a wash with the turnovers, if it's 1 turnover to 1 or 2 to 2 in a game, we win every game. But if it's like the Iowa game where it's 4-0 and we're handing the ball over to teams inside our own 30, that's hard to win any game. So
yeah, I think it might be a close game, but I think our special teams is getting a little better.
Special teams getting a lot better.
A lot better. We couldn't get much worse from last year, and it's just really exciting. Just every time we have a touchback, I just celebrate like no other. And
it's a very Iowa State way to be.
And I think this is a great game to have our first road game be, because Baylor has really had an up and down program ever since the when they were like in our position, honestly, because they rose to what we've been. They were playing the Big 12 championship. Should have been the playoff in 2014 or whatever it was. And it's kind of like a rivalry that's kind of like a little smoke being a rivalry.
Yeah.
You had the Dave Montgomery game where he threw a punch.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I mean they're not going to get the rivalry fired up by Baylor's coach, because I think he needs a heart monitor on. I'm not sure he has a pulse sometimes. Yeah. He is so calm. I mean, he, last year I wasn't even sure he was even paying attention to the game. He was so calm. So, but that's just his demeanor.
I feel like,
and everybody talks about, he's such a great defensive mind from LSU. Well, how stinking good do you have to be a coach at Alabama or LSU or any of these places that get every 5-star they can to be considered a really good coach? Chiswick proved that. He was one of the hottest coaches around, and he's the defensive coordinator at Texas when Texas was really good. You want to tell me you're a really good defensive coordinator and you're winning at Vanderbilt? Now I'm going to listen.
Iowa State
or Kansas or whatever. But if you're a really good defensive coordinator and you're under Nick Saban, please. Yeah. I mean, come on. You're getting the best of the best, and everybody else everybody else is trying to catch up to you. I mean, so I'm not a believer in him being this great coach because he coached at LSU. I mean, he's got to prove it in some other way. I mean, because there's been way too many guys that have come out of these blue blood programs as a coordinator and then gone to a place where they don't have as good a talent and then it flamed out.
Yeah, like really the only way I see it, I can see Baylor possibly winning this game. This is kind of a game where it just kind of takes all the wind out of our sails type of game. But the one thing is consistent. Purdy just needs to not make mistakes. We win.
Right. Yeah.
And Breece Hall obviously is one of the best running backs in the nation, and all he has to do is get some blocking and just get back on track for that. And Kohler looks a little healthier.
Yeah, I think it looks a lot healthier. I mean, I think he, everybody's saying he's bigger and faster, and I think he's still hiding whatever happened to him in that lower leg injury. But, every week he gets through a game healthy is one step closer to being, 100%. So,
yeah, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I do too. I don't see. I mean, the spread is only 6.5 right now, I think, and I would we be happy with a 7-point win? That means we're going in the fourth quarter knowing that it's we're kind of on the edge. So I mean, I see us winning by 2 touchdowns. That's my prediction.
So? I see that, or we lose.
I don't think we lose. I don't think we lose. I mean, because that means If we lose, that means there's got to be at least one pick six that one of our quarterbacks throws, or there's got to be another scoop and score.
Like
I don't see that happening again.
Yeah, Purdy did that twice last year, and we still pulled it out.
Yeah, I think that Iowa game really got his attention mentally, and it's too close to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening this weekend. Maybe he gets into a, middle of October and he has a setback a little bit, but I just don't see that happening this weekend. So I honestly think the only way that Baylor beats us is that if we beat ourselves. We have a bunch of penalties. We get a kid kicked out. We pick six, scoop and score. Just because I don't see our defense giving up enough.
With the fringe, the targeting rule the way it is, it can't.
Do you know the targeting rule after watching that?
No, what I'm saying is the way it's being called nowadays. It can flip the game so quickly because I don't want to speak this in existence, obviously, but obviously Detrone Young's been doing that. It just takes one weird hit for multiple I don't know.
But it's not the weird hit; it's the guy that's judging that hit.
Yeah.
That's the wild card in this. It's not the fact that he hit; it's that who's looking at that hit, deciding whether that is targeting or not.
Yeah.
And Saturday, the same guy looked at both of those hits and said, no. There's another guy that this Saturday could take the identical two hits and say they're both targeting.
Yeah.
Now,
it's a mess.
The X factor of this is that even if we get some guy run from it, we have just shown that we've got dudes that can come in and fill in the gaps.
I know. That's true. But either way, Baylor, any team we face, if it happens, it's
So who's a guy that if we get called for targeting, that one guy we lose that is a complete game changer?
Probably Mike Rose or Will McDonald.
Yeah,
Or Anthony Johnson. I
would say Mike Rose, number one. How in the hell is Will McDonald going to get a targeting?
I don't know.
He's 9 feet tall. He's taller than every quarterback that he ever sees.
I know.
He's going to have to stand on his knees and fire his head into somebody to get a targeting. There's no way.
But there was a bowl game last year where an offensive lineman got targeting.
Yeah, but he's still taller than everybody. I know. It's Hasheem Young gets targeting because he's a little shorter, but he hits like a truck.
Yeah.
If Will McDonald was 5'9" and could run like a Sheem and get ahead of steam, it's hard for a defensive end to get targeting. He would have to come in. I just think Will McDonald plays with such a, like Fred used to always say, pace. He plays with such a pace that he goes 1,000,000 miles an hour, but he's not out of control. Mm-hmm. He's really hard to block, but he's not overrunning plays, and he's not doing, the flips that Bailey did. He just seems like he's really kind of a level-headed kid. And so, I agree. If Mike Rose gets targeting, that's a game changer.
But not as a huge game changer it was 2 years ago.
No, right. Because of our dudes that we got in there.
Vaughn.
Who's the younger guy that came in at the very end? I can't remember his name.
I can't remember either.
Yeah, because Vaughn's really good. Obviously, Ryan Vance is really good. Obviously, Mike Rose is really good. Obviously, Hummel is really good. So not worried about the defense at all. I would really like to see, Sean Shaw have a big catch, have Joe Skates go for a long one, and get Brees to 150 yards.
Or Treek Milton.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about him.
I know. Treek Milton is kind of a guy, just hasn't really been used very much, but he's a guy that we can show. He can show his it's just been so long, but he has the talent because he's been playing since he's been a freshman. But
yeah. And I think getting him off the punt team means he's less likely to get injured, so we probably have him for the rest of the year. And
the letting it bounce to the.
Well, I think Simmons. They've got Simmons pulling on the offensive line now more than he ever did last year, and he's so athletic, but he didn't do it last year.
Really,
and so I think he's still trying to figure that out. And by him pulling around and getting in front of Brees, when he gets that figured out,
it'll be dangerous.
Right, that's going to make our edge game a lot better than it has been. So I don't know. It'll be fun. I'm probably more excited about this weekend than it was the UNI game.
Yeah.
The reason we were excited about the UNI game is that it was the beginning of the season. I'm excited now is that now these are Big 12 games. Obviously, the talent level has gone up till we play Kansas. But then when we play Okie State and all those guys, every one of those games is going to be must-see TV.
Yeah, and it'll be. I think I'm a little nervous for this game because like I'm just so used to like the Baylor game, just like coming down a couple plays.
Yeah, it could. I mean, yeah.
And a lot goes down to our special teams, which I'm not very confident about. But man.
Well, and the X factor too that nobody would talk about, but your sister is a freshman at Iowa State, and she's telling me how many kids are hacking and coughing in class right now. I mean, we never know whether just an illness is going to change or two. I mean, it's hard to play football in 100-degree weather when you don't feel good. So hopefully they're isolating each other, and we know they're eating well. I mean, well,
we got depth, and it's not like the 9-6 game where the Sioux game, like Nebraska, where everyone was puking on the sidelines, and the depth we had from then compared to now, it's just it really showed against the UNLV, where I think 13 or 14 freshmen played, sophomores and freshmen played, and they look good. And
so we play Baylor this weekend. We play Kansas at home the next weekend. Then we have a week off.
I think we have a bye, and then Kansas State.
Yeah.
Which Kansas State lost Skylar Thompson again.
So did Brewer transfer to Utah?
Yeah.
So he's gone from Utah now.
Yeah, what I've heard is he's had a lot of concussions.
Oh.
I think he might be done playing football.
Speaking of that, I drove a lot of miles for my job this week, so I was trying to find a Baylor podcast to listen to. Mm-hmm. I found one that was 20 minutes long. Yeah. That was horrendous.
Yeah, there's another one that's a YouTube show that I've been DMing the guy. They do really good work. You just have to go on YouTube. They have their radio show.
I couldn't find the ones. They were all like from basketball season.
Yeah, it's it's called 365 Sports. They've been killing it since like the Real Live and stuff.
Oh, really?
They're when I followed them, they only had like 2,000 subscribers. Now they have like 13,000. Wow! So they've been killing it. That's one that I should have told you about, but.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of. The one I was listening to was hammering on Kansas and talking about. They were talking about how odd it is that Mangino got Kansas good for that one moment in time, and now how bad they are. I mean, how many years would? And they were talking about how many years would it take to get Kansas to fill that stadium consistently? It would take forever. I mean, it's like Drake Stadium. I mean, they have a track around it.
They don't have a track around anymore, but they used
they don't.
They used to.
Yeah. Last time,
That is, which is crazy about Campbell's. Like, if you take away the like Campbell and the history, like I didn't want last year to be like, oh, Iowa State won the Fiesta Bowl and just like go back to where Kansas was.
Right.
Which obviously that's not going to happen because, that's pretty weird because they had Todd Reese or whatever his name.
That's right.
And they just murdered us.
Yeah.
And then they were like. Because it was like one of the last matchups of the season. It was Kansas was ranked 3rd, and Missouri was ranked.
Just listen to what you just said.
Missouri was ranked 5th.
Listen to what you just said.
And Missouri was undefeated.
It wasn't basketball. It was football. Kansas was ranked 3rd.
And Missouri won that, and they were undefeated, and they were number 1 in the nation going into the Big 12 championship game, and then kind of got rolled by Oklahoma. Yeah. Because if Missouri won that, they were going to win the national championship. Good Lord. So that year was 2007, I think, and that was a year where it was just crazy. Like the number 2 team lost like 8 times that year. Yeah. And I think this is a year that could happen because no team looks really that special this year. Like Bama almost lost last week, and Iowa's ranked 5th with a very bad offense, in my opinion. But their defense scores every freaking game.
So are we going to change the subject, Johnny, but are we going to pull off this whole gold shirt thing?
I hope so.
Have you heard?
The guy that was trying to run the whole thing said that marketing team is going to look at it and hopefully.
I hope so. We just ordered shirts for it.
Hopefully give the okay because gold shirts aren't really a huge Iowa State thing, but I think we got some pretty cool ones.
Yeah. We got the gold sound the Cyrens shirts with the "We Will" on the back of them. So we only bought 50 of them. Is that right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So first come, first serve on the website, and we've actually have them in hand. We'll have them in hand on Friday. So first come, first serve. We'll ship them out to you, and you'll have them plenty of time for the Kansas game.
So any final thoughts?
So how was the food in Vegas? Did you eat at restaurants or anything?
Me and Louie went to In-N-Out. That was the cheapest.
In-N-Out is that as good as everybody says it is?
Yeah, it's good. Me living in Arizona for 9 months or whatever, having In-N-Out around, it's good. It's not like, it's all right. It's not Tom Thumb by any means.
Oh my God, Tom Thumb.
Tom Thumb's.
It's not as good as the steak I gave you last night, is it?
No, Yeah, it was. We went to Tom Thumb, or we didn't go. We go to In-N-Out, and then we went to Mike and Lucy. Brought us to 2 other restaurants, 2 local places. They were pretty good.
Well, like what were they called? Do you remember?
I don't remember what they're called.
Those regular restaurants, Mexican.
It was a Mexican place and an Irish place. It was.
Oh, imagine that.
It was pretty close.
Lucy grew up in Mexico City, and Mike is Irish. So wow, they really broadened themselves out there.
Yep, it was.
I tell you, the reason I ask is that In-N-Out, they always talk about how good it is, but we've got a freezer full of meat that is from a local group that we've partnered with, and when you get a locally raised steak or a locally raised hamburger, I just don't think there's any comparison to the crap that you get at a fast food restaurant or at a convenience store. I mean, there's just such a quantum difference between the taste of it, the quality of it, where it came from. I mean, our new partners, Grandview Beef and Clarion, they're fantastic human beings, let alone having a great product. And we've got a hookup for you that we'll talk. We've probably maybe put this before the podcast, but I've been to their farm. They're just really, really good people. I might as well tell you right now. I mean, the new hookup we have for you is that if you go to grandviewbeef.com and you add 10 beef sticks to your cart and then use the Sound the Sirens coupon code or promo code, which is STC for Sound the Sirens, you get $20 off, which means you get the beef sticks for free. So it's just grandviewbeef.com. They are 2 quality individuals that run that place, just a young husband and wife team. They're great people, and it's they raise beef the way it used to be. I mean, it's in a pasture, and if you're into organic, it's labeled as organic. Took them a long time to be able to say that. So they're just quality individuals. So go check them out and use our Sound the Sirens code because you're helping some Iowa farmers that are trying to do things right. That's my opinion of them. And I've used them. I've had many freezers full of beef from them, so this isn't BS. I've used their product for a long time, and I'm a true believer. Actually, we use single ingredient stuff for our dog, and I get trachea chews from Amazon, and I said, "Hey, can you give me a beef trachea?" They looked at me like I was completely nuts. So the last time, Newt is the guy that runs this place, and he comes up to me in this big bloody vacuum packed thing. And he goes, "I got it for you." So my wife freaked out when she saw that in the freezer. But yeah, they're just really, really good people. So check them out.
All right, so we need score predictions.
What
do you think?
Score projections.
What do you think?
Oh, I'm gonna go 30-10.
30-10. I'm gonna go 24-6. I think us winning, obviously.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not picking Baylor to put 30 up on our defense.
I think it's just a thing where they have a couple lucky big plays that get them to the red zone, then we hold them and they kick 2 field goals, and we just, I think we'll be decent on offense, not outstanding, and just win pretty comfortably for the first road game and Big 12 game, and I hope that happens because I just hope it's a low-stress game because it's always stressful.
You're an Iowa State fan. There's not many there's not many games that are low stress.
But we wish for it every week, and I guess we did last week.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you made it back from Vegas in one piece. Glad nobody threw up on you on the plane or anything. And I wish I could have gone, but maybe I can plan, hopefully start eventually and get in October, start thinking ahead to bowl trips and stuff.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Check out, get on the website. We got restocked with the red shirts too, but it's a limited supply with the gold shirts. And a review on the Apple Podcast. Give us a review. Tell your friends. Share it with everybody. We're trying to get Thomas's stuff promoted a little more here, and give us a shout out when you see us at the game with your Sound the Sirens stuff. Look for the Sound the Sirens flag. There is one at Vet Med, and there's one over by the Alumni Center.
Yep, by Hilton.
And that's where we hang out during the game. So come. Give us a shout.
All right. Well, go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones, baby.